podium. But the person that generally looks the most disappointed is not the person that made bronze, but it's the person that made silver. So that is something that, um, if you ever, watch the next Olympics, or watch like a previous Olympics, always look at the face of the second place winner, the silver medal winner. Chances are they're not looking very ecstatic about it. Because here's the thing, the bronze finalist generally is so happy because, yes, I made it to the podium. The gold medal winner absolutely is ecstatic because, yes, they gave it 120% and they made it and they got it and they're the winner. But the silver medalist, obviously they did better than the bronze medalist and they're standing at the podium. But chances are they were going for the gold. They were never aiming to go for the silver, right? And so because of that, there's always going to be that sense of almost that extra sense of disappointment. So one of the things that, I also learned again through this, I guess we'll just kind of frame it in my piano career, was, the time when I had obtained a second place. Ooh, let me tell you, there is this one piece that I had mastered. Oh my goodness. It was beautiful. Like it had inspired me. I felt, absolutely like at one playing. It's a piece by Claude Debussy, and it's called Clair de Lune. And it just flowed. It flowed. Butterfingers, I guess you, I don't know, probably there's probably a more masterful way of describing it. But, I won first place gold with that piece ultimately. But the journey there was definitely not glorious like that. But I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying and I kept trying to perfect those places where I would kind of like have minor gliding mistakes over them. And so the very first time I had been in a competition, I did not place. And so in piano, generally you would be entered in a number of competitions for your pieces because especially in the higher levels, you want to test out how you're playing, right? And so for the same piece, you might be playing at four, five, six different competitions. And of course, recitals are no question, absolutely, you'd be playing them at recitals too. But this piece, Claire de Lune, was a grade 10 piece, and I remember, wow, I was so freaking nervous at my very first competition. And I'm not talking like playing like up against like 20 people here. When you're in the upper grades, the class that you're in, you practically only have maybe four or five people, right? Because there's not that many people in the higher levels. So you, I mean, come on, if you don't place, you probably did a pretty bad job. Right? And, I certainly didn't do too hot, in my first competition. And I remember, okay, so after the competition, you get some notes back, and you then, go home and you work on, all the places that could have been better, and you then, get those get those parts of the piece technically better, melodically better, and then you go and you play ho- for sure, hopefully better at your second competition. And so I remember at the second competition, I was like 1 point away from the third place. And so Again, very disappointed. Again, this is during a time when, I had all the stuff going on, right? I had pre-med, I had MCATs, I had extracurriculars. At this point in time, I was also in peer leadership. And so I was doing a lot of extra hours trying to also support and guide international students at UBC. And we were part of this pretty pretty engaged group of us. I was managing a team of 20. So I remember so distinctly, I remember saying to myself, oh my freaking Lord, if I don't place in my next competition, I am gonna have to say no to exam for this year, and I'm gonna have to postpone it till next year. And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal because not only does it cost money, and at when you get to the higher grades, the exams are expensive. You're talking like more than $1,000. Like I don't remember the exact amount, but it was like anywhere like around like 12 or $1,500 or something like that. I don't remember because it was really long ago, but it was expensive. And also, it's time. It's more time that you have to dedicate. You work so hard and you are almost there. You could almost taste it, and then you realize that you're not ready. Hmm, that's disappointing. Yeah, so I remember saying to myself, all right, Jen, you need to make a decision. Either you're going to sit down and you're going to give it not 120% because clearly that didn't motivate you enough. You're going to have to give it 140%. I don't know. You're going to have to pull it out of your inner soul, that ability. And I kid you not, when I had that conversation with myself, wow, that was when I realized that, oh, I still had something in the reserves that I did not realize I had. And I think I think sometimes we all have to take that minute and sit ourselves down and say, "Hey, you haven't done your part. You didn't give it everything you had." And remember when you proposed to your dad when you were 9 years old that you were going to do whatever it takes to finish your program and get that diploma. What you neglected to say was you were going to do it with the best achievable grade that you could get. And again, I have pretty high standards. So going into this grade 10 exam, I'm not kidding, okay? I'm one of those people. I gave it 120%. So my piano history mark was 95. So I did not want to disappoint myself. So and what happens in grade 10 is your counterpoint 5 and your history 5. So counterpoint is like, one of those like what do you call them? Composition types of marks. So you learn, how to like accompaniment and stuff like that. And so theory, I guess. So theory is the younger grades, and then you move into counterpoint in the higher grades. And so like your scores are averaged out. So I mean, going in, I had a 95. I could not. I don't think I could face myself if I scored like a bare minimum on my grade 10 exam score and brought my average down to probably like, I don't know, 80 or 78. I'd probably have to like, ugh, give myself a big butt whipping, like, so the amount of pressure that I also put on myself, probably not very healthy, but the point is, I knew I wasn't giving 120% to this one priority that I needed to accomplish, right? And I was so close to the finish line that I needed to give myself a sit down talk because what is it that I'm working towards if I'm not prioritizing this, right? And so almost like by a miracle sake, after I give myself that talk, oh my gosh, something like it's almost like the reset button had been pressed. I kid you not, my practicing just went like multiple times much more efficient. I had more energy. I was managing my time like to the T. I was scheduling every single little thing. Like I was just like, whoa. I'm like, I was like superwoman. Like I actually felt like superwoman. And like now that I'm kind of recalling, at that point in time in my life, I'm like, dude, I don't know if I could do that again. Because that was like super, super, super duper woman mode, like lioness woo mode. So yeah, like, if you're not gonna do it right, don't do it at all. And that's been one of the principles that I live by. Don't half-ass anything. If you're gonna do it, go for it. You give it 120%, or just stop, or just stop and take a break. And so on the next competition, I not only placed, but I got the gold medal, right? And here's the kicker though. I got overly confident. So I got the gold medal at the Kiwanis Festival, which is one of the biggest competitions in the Lower Mainland, and I got a gold medal for it. I was so excited. I was so happy. I was like, yes, I did it, I did it, I did it. And then I got overly confident. And then guess what happened? The next competition, you know, I wasn't doing what I had been doing leading up to my gold medal. So guess what I did? I got lazy again. I got careless again. And the next competition, I placed second. Oh, let me tell you, that was a lesson to be learned. Because had I not, I guess, had that experience, I wouldn't know what an Olympic, I mean, obviously that's a little far to be comparing to an Olympic medalist, because they have to work like gazillion times harder than, me, my little dinky piano competition. But the psychological effect is quite similar, right? You're expecting to get a gold, but you only get a silver. Do you know what I mean? Like it's disheartening. And I gotta say, when that happened, it was actually harder to get back up than it was when I didn't place at all. So I remember going, wow. I mean, I'll probably dedicate like an episode just on like how do you pick yourself back up. I mean, that was a learning experience in itself. But the matter was, I did not. I guess I was almost expecting to get the gold medal again, or the gold, first place again, and I didn't. And so that was a very expensive lesson for me to learn, but it was a very valuable lesson, that I think, I actually took more out of that experience than I did when I, got the first place and won a gold medal. So yeah, so absolutely. Absolutely. It's the difference between try and a triumph is the little umph, right? And so if you don't give it the umph, chances are you're only trying. And when you're just trying, honestly, everybody can try, right? But not everybody will get. So you always have to not only try, but you have to also push and give your 120% in order for you to achieve, the higher goal, the higher, levels, the higher standards, the higher values, the higher, just to reach a higher level altogether. Here's the thing, guys. I'm not talking about what I've heard or what I've read somewhere. I mean, I try to share, as much as I can from my own experiences, because you know what? I've walked through them, and I do see that if we share stuff that we've actually experienced and walked through, it's a little bit more meaningful and more applicable, because I have if I've walked through it and I've experienced it, at least I can say for sure that is humanly possible, and that I can I can also say that it was never easy, but the fact that, it wasn't easy doesn't mean that, we should not try, right? Because it's doable and it was possible, and I did it, right? So these are things that, I feel, as the kind of moving forward generation, we can always pass on a lot of pearls of wisdom. I'm sure, you've experienced challenges in your life and you've experienced some aha moments and you've experienced some triumphs and trials and these are things that,